Hi, everybody. Oh, I see people already here. Hi, Solaria. How are you this morning? Welcome to everybody who's going to be joining us live, who is already with us live, or who is watching the playback. I've missed you guys. It has been a week off last Monday, so we haven't seen each other in 2 weeks properly. And we had quite a bit of reading, and I'm really excited to keep talking about this fiction book. So we are going over, if you're new here, we're going over Uprooted by Naomi Novik. And our sections that we were covering were chapters 17 through 25. It was a big old chunk because I was gone for 2 weeks. So I am kind of feeling like this is lagged in the comments. If somebody is here, if you guys could just let me know that you can hear me, that everything's going well. Let me just check the time, make sure we are all good. Let me just see here. Yes, I have my phone ringer off. Okay, so let me take a sip of my coffee. I'll wait for a few more people to roll in. I'm like feeling like this isn't working. I don't know why. Like normally you guys are flooding my comment section. Maybe people are just not into it this morning, and that's fine. Okay, now I'm seeing people. Maybe they couldn't find me. Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? My coffee is brewing right now. This is actually really gross coffee because I've reheated it twice now. Angie was really amazing, and a long time ago she sent me this like what are those called? Yeti mugs, and I use it all the time, but for whatever reason in the morning I don't use it. I just use a regular coffee mug, and this morning I've had to reheat my coffee like twice. Solaria is at the doctor's office waiting to go in. I hope that it's just a regular checkup and that everything is good with you. Hi, Louise. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing wonderful. And Heather. Hi, Heather. I've missed you. I hope that you're doing well. I am drinking out of this really... Oh, I think Angie got me this too. Or did Heather? No, Heather got me my other favorite mug. This is a mug that Angie got me. I have that mug in Capricorn. I love it so much. I really like it because the handle is square, and for some reason it just like feels nice to hold it. Hi, Jezebel Bontex. How are you this morning? Yes, I know I've had 2 weeks off, and it does not feel like I've had 2 weeks off. Hi, Sam. How are you guys? Okay, so just a quick recap on my life here. I was off last week because I worked for my muggle job out in Chicago. I work for a very prestigious glass art gallery, and there's a big exhibition at the end of the Navy Pier every first weekend of November. So we always travel. It's like all hands on deck, and we are setting up a bunch of really beautiful, heavy, and kind of intricate, delicate glass sculptures. And then I get all glam and I have to kind of work the sales floor, and then we do takedown. It's really, really, really long hours. It's really hard on my physical, mental, and emotional spirit, but it's over, and it's getting easier every year because I'm learning how to like pace myself, and this was my fourth or fifth time going to the exhibition. And what's nice is that George gets to come as well because he's so handy. They hire him for the setup and takedown portion, so it's kind of nice to have him there for like emotional support. Hi, Rebel Child Tarot. How are you? Yeah, it's nice to see you in the comments. It's been a while. So that's the kind of recap of why we missed last week. Since getting back, I got back on Monday evening, and I had to go straight right back to work on Tuesday. It is so cool. It is really cool. It's a blessing, and so, it's a dream job, definitely, but this week that's passed is kind of like hell week. It's really, really difficult for me. And so it's nice that it's over, but I am really lucky to have the job that I have. I've worked really hard. The schooling and the time that I've put in and invested in my job, I am very, very blessed. But so we got back Monday night, excuse me, had to go back to work Tuesday morning. So I've been on a regular work week again. It's been a little difficult to like come home from work because we're still working kind of late to catch up and, ship the pieces that are sold and all of that. So it's been a little hard for me to get back invested in things. I was able to do a little bit of a mini Instagram live. I was able to film one of my clients' readings that was purchased through my website, and I just have to upload it and send it. I have a couple more to film. I'm really excited about. Hopefully I can get done today. But it's been hard to get back into the swing of things. I just feel still like I'm being drugged back from that. But I read a little bit on the plane ride there, and I was so exhausted on the plane ride back, I couldn't read anything. And then throughout the week, I was trying to catch up on stuff. So I had to read pretty much this entire section yesterday. It was a lot, but it is so good. I like that I did that only because it's really, really fresh in my mind, but it was a little bit stressful. Like, oh my God, am I gonna finish this reading? Hi Raquel, how are you this morning? I was kind of stressed out last night, like, well, not last night, yesterday, like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of reading that I thought I might have had more time in between to read when I was in Chicago, but I just literally had barely enough time to sleep and eat. So, but I read this yesterday and oh, you're going to Chicago? Are you going for fun? Are you going for work? I hope you're going for fun because Chicago is amazing and there's so much good vegan food that I ate out there. I was so plump when I got back. I was like, I feel good. I had all of the food. So anyways, that's my little catch up. It's not me trying to complain. It's me just letting you know or recapping kind of like how my last 2 weeks have been. So that's that. So let's get right into things. I made the homework from last live stream, which would have been 2 weeks ago again, for us to create a playlist that makes us feel or kind of surrounded around the book Uprooted. So a lot of people were sharing theirs already in the Facebook group, and I was listening to them yesterday while I was reading. Well, some of them. I have a hard time reading while there's like words in songs. So I was like listening to a couple when I was making my dinner. And it's really, really cool to see what you guys think and feel through songs about this book. Like, this is probably one of the coolest homeworks for me to assign to see what you guys think. I've also made my Spotify playlist. If you don't have Spotify, that's okay. I think you could do whatever you wanted. I mean, you could even just write out a few songs that remind you about the book. But everyone's sharing them right now in their in the Facebook. So if you aren't a part of our Facebook group, feel free to come on over and join, and we'd love to have you. It's facebook.com/groups/witchybookclub. And when this posts after it's live, there's always the link to it in the description box. But maybe if one of my moderators could pop the link in the chat. I don't know, like, my brain is foggy. I feel like, do I know how to talk? Do I know how to do this anymore? It's been 2 weeks and I've forgotten it all. Raquel said, fun. I have tickets to see Reese Witherspoon, Sophia Bush, Glennon Doyle, Abby, and a bunch of other women speak. For what? That sounds so cool. For, like, what are they? Is it just like a talk? A motivational speech? That's super cool. So, quick homework discussion today because there's not really much to get into. I guess I could ask you guys, did you make a playlist? If you did, what did you find? What were you more drawn to as far as... Hi, Renea. Good morning from Canada. Oh, Canada. Not reading this book, enjoying the chat, though. I love when people aren't reading the book and they just want to come and hang out. I think that's awesome. So that's pretty much, like, we could get a little bit into the homework, maybe talking about what kind of songs we felt like we wanted to put in there, and I'll go in a little bit. I don't have a ton of songs on my playlist, maybe like 20 or so. A lot of the songs are not, like, don't have lyrics in them, and I found that I really had kind of like a dark, creepy overtone to all of my songs that I was putting in there, because that's kind of how I feel about the book in its entirety. Well done on our anthem. I don't know why I did that, actually. Yeah, so a lot of the songs that I was doing had like this weird, creepy, eerie overtone because throughout the whole book so far, there really hasn't been even their little steamy blip of a hot scene there between Dragon and Agnieszka. I mean, it still had like this weird dark overtone to it. Um, and then also I was finding like a lot of soundtracks of magical type movies. Once I fell down that rabbit hole, it was like, oh, okay, all of the magical movies. So I have a song in there, I think, from the Fantastic Beasts soundtrack, which I'm really excited to see the new Grindelwald movie. I cannot wait. Um, and I think I had songs in there like from the Sleeping Beauty soundtrack with like Maleficent. Just like really creepy, evil overtones to things. So I think it's supposed to be motivational. Glory is made into a movie by Oprah. Highly recommend. I have a feeling it'll be about a lot of different aspects. That's so cool. How did you even hear about that? That is so amazing. Alter ego. Oh my god, me too. About what? About the playlist, about what Raquel's doing in Chicago. Um, this Friday the movie's coming out. Oh, okay, the movie. That's it. Okay. I used a lot of soundtracks as well. Mostly Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and the Viking show. Yes. So here's the thing though, too. I was like wanting to go down that like um Lord of the Rings feel and stuff, but to me there isn't that much of like that Celtic-y kind of overtones that Lord of the Ring has. There is this mm, the sword and the stone, like King Arthur kind of feel, like that, or like Braveheart. Man, I should have looked up the Braveheart soundtrack. Stuff like that. Like I was diving deep into those types of things. But then I was listening to some of your guys' playlists where it was like actual songs with lyrics, and the lyrics or the way that it was like ordered and stuff in your Spotify playlist was so cool. I was like listening to the lyrics. I'm like, this is made for the book. This is amazing. This reminds me so much of what's going on in the book. Um, a alter ego says crazy, my playlist is more of women empowerment. It's funny because I saw the playlist and there were so many different ways that people approached this. It was cool. Like Sam posted the beginning of her playlist right away when I gave the homework. She like dove right into it and posted it in the Facebook group, and she had a lot of like female singers, a lot of like folksy or very like empowerment songs on there, but the lyrics or like the mood still fit really, really well. I loved it. I honestly had to resist using every random song onto my playlist. You're so funny, Sam. Butterfly. Hi, Butterfly. How are you this morning? So that was the homework. It's kind of hard to talk about it, but that's what I found is that another one. Yeah, Sam's playlist was amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to divert the conversation. I'll send you a link to the book. I'll show up anything where women are being empowered by other women. I love that. Please send me the link, and don't ever feel bad for sidetracking me because I do it on my own anyways. It doesn't matter if you sidetrack me in the comments. I'll find my own way. Rachel says, I tried to find more Russian folk songs, but I couldn't vibe with them. Oh, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about going to like the Russian folk type sense. Raven Song said, sorry, didn't do the homework, but the first song that came to my mind was Suzanne Vega's About the Queen and the Tower. I don't know if I know that song. I should write that down. Let me think. Where's my pants? I'm gonna write it down. Raven Song. But that's okay, you didn't do the homework. It's all for fun anyways. Queen in the Tower. Cool. I meant to add more, but life got away. Well, it's a good thing that you did it pretty much right off the bat, Sam, then, because you were ahead of the game. Homework. I will just sit quietly in the back of class. It's more of like an extra credit. How about that? So like it's fine if you didn't do it. It's every week, you know? So it's all good. You just have a chance to like participate more, you know? So I absolutely love homework. Wish I felt this way while I was in school. You know what? I wanted to like, okay, sorry. sidetrack and then we're gonna get right into the book. See, Raquel, don't even worry about it. I do it myself. I was told my entire life, you're gonna be a teacher. Oh my gosh, you would make such a good teacher. Oh, she should be a teacher when she grows up. Oh my gosh. And I just felt like at a young age, I was like, I have more ambitions than being a teacher. I don't think I could, like, I loved school and I loved my teachers and I love learning and classroom and homework and all that. But I just felt like I was like, I want to have more than just being a teacher. Because at that age, I'm like, oh, whatever, teacher's boring. I want to do something bigger and better. Like, I went to school for theater, okay? I wasn't thinking about being a teacher. And the more and more I grew into like myself and realized that I am obsessed with school, I'm obsessed with learning. I love homework. I love interacting and teaching and learning. It's just so great. And so this feels right. I have a lot of ideas for like courses and stuff that I would love to do. At this point, I want to make sure that if I'm going to do a course, it's not just to do a course. It's about something that I feel really that I could help people with, or that would be beneficial or worth, or maybe even interesting enough that people would want to kind of sign up for. And so I thank you so much for saying that you love homework and that you like doing it. It's never to make anyone feel pressured into doing it. It's just like, I would probably be doing this stuff anyways, so why don't you do it with me, kind of thing. I feel like I have something in my throat. Rosemary says, hello, late to this, but it's good to see you live, even if it's for a short time. Hello as well. You should create a school. That would be so cool. I feel like I would have to kind of do it different in a unique way because I know as far as like tarot goes, Ethany has her, her tarot summer school. And so I don't know if I would necessarily create a school right off the bat, but I do have, my excuse me, I hope you don't have earphones on. I do have courses. There's actually one in mind that I'm very interested in diving into, and that's the subject around color, and creating a course of how to learn and feel and live through color in a magical sense. Kind of playing off of that little snippet of a 3-minute video that I created about why color is my most powerful tool. And I have different sections in which I have in my mind that could be like different lessons inside of the course. But I just word vomited that out, and yeah, I didn't really mean to do that actually. It's a thing that I'm thinking about. I was told the same thing and I felt the same way about teaching. Yet now I'm a professional educator and love YouTube. It's okay to have more than one person doing similar things, like a tarot school or whatever. It's okay to give yourself permission. Thank you, Butterfly. That's so sweet. And also, it's good that you relate, because I feel like growing up, I knew that I would be a good teacher, but because everyone told me that that's what I should be, I was like, nope, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a star. I'm going to see my name in lights. Then I was like, I hate this. I don't want to be a part. I love theater. Okay, you guys stop, because now I have a YouTube channel, so it's kind of like a sidestep, but let's get into the book. Let's talk about this, and then I'm sure I will tangent in the middle of the book as well. I just feel like I haven't been able to talk to you guys in so long. So we have a lot to cover, and I'm going to bring up a possible book for our next time, our last book actually of 2018, and it strays a bit away from the quote unquote witchy subject that we have around Witchy Book Club. So let me actually bring it up now. You guys can think about it, and then I'll mention it again at the end. Nothing set in stone. I definitely don't want to read a book that nobody's really interested in, but I went to the bookstore a few weeks ago. I was looking through all these books, trying to find a good, like, one that I connected to, that I felt like was good enough, and that I didn't find anything that sparked my interest, that I felt like we really needed to read. And then I was watching a video by, what's her name? Fran Nerd. She's an illustrator on YouTube. And she was talking about 3 books that got her out of really dark places. And I was really fascinated by that thought. And so that's what my little Instagram live was about a couple days ago. And I talked about the 3 books that maybe not necessarily got me out of really dark places, but that were really crucial for self-empowerment and self-development and kind of like connecting back to spirituality or finding a level up in my awareness of spirituality. And the one that really impacted me greatly as far as like self-improvement and kind of like motivation was The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. So this is really not all that witchy, but it is at the same token because it's about self-development and self-awareness, and that falls under the category of witchy in my mindset. But it's really a self-help category more so. But what's really nice about me thinking about doing this at the end of 2018 is because I have never in my life felt more motivated to be a better person, to live a better, more productive, happy life than after reading this book. And I've read a lot of self-help books, and a lot of them will kind of give me that fire, but this one to me was amazing. And so I'm totally willing to go over it again, and I think it would be kind of nice to end 2018 with a motivational self-help book so that we can gear up 2019 and get right in and start to manifest and organize our lives in the best way possible. If you guys are not into that, that's fine. We can pick something a little bit more witchy, but that's kind of been like speaking to me in the back of my mind. So here's a little bit of what the book is about. I'm going to mention it in the Facebook group. I'll send you like a link and stuff in the Facebook group when I'm done with this live chat, kind of explaining what the book would be about, and you guys can give me a yay or nay. But basically, Gretchen Rubin wanted to make herself happier, and she didn't know what that meant and how to do that. So she started this kind of experiment called the Happiness Project, where for 1 year, she took a different thing to focus on every month and wanted to really, really focus on that and try to see if by improving these aspects of her life and connecting more to them that she could become happier per se. And so in January, she starts with one thing. Let's say she starts with health. And so the whole month is about how she approaches being healthier, the steps she takes. But it's kind of relatable. It's not like pushy in your face, like you need to be doing this. You're basically just reading what she did to make her life better. And then when it comes to February, she starts on a new aspect of her life, but she also has to keep up with everything that she did in January. So by the end of the year, she has basically 12 new ways of thinking about different aspects of her life. She goes into, you know, her relationships, her parenting, her cleanliness of her home, her health, you know, and fitness and stuff like that. And it's just really inspiring. So that's my proposal. And I will put it in the Facebook group with links and a little blurb about the book if you guys want to get into it. But I feel like we could have really great conversations about this book and spin it in a much more like witchy, magical sense if we wanted to as well. But I just saw Sam's comment as well. Yeah, I feel like self-help books are still pretty witchy. It's all about self-care, love, and spirituality anyways. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think anything can be witchy. And what even is witchy? But, you know, as far as the books that we've been doing on here, we've done tarot and astrology and protection magic and earth magic and stuff like that. So definitely it strays away from those types of books. But I'm telling you guys, if we end a year with a self-help book like this one, ooh, it would be great. She actually has 2 more books, and I loved them so much that I've read all 3 of them. There's like Better Home or something like that, and then I don't know, there's one about your personalities or something like that. It's really great. Yes, I agree. Perfect time with the beginning of the year in the rise. Anything to better yourself. Also, for those of you who have a hard time reading the book, it's available on Audible as well, because that's where I first read it. I listened to it on Audible. I do think that I'm going to see if I can go, if we choose this book, to my library to get a hard copy of this, just so I can make notes and stuff on the pages and the sections we go over. But let me know what you guys think. Look into The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And that is my proposal. And if you guys absolutely hate it or anything, it seems like you guys are cool with it I'm telling you that it's great because I've read it before. So that's my little thing. Okay. Anyways, half hour in. Shall we begin the actual book section? Okay. So just a show in the comments, 2 things. 1, have you read the section we're about to go over? And 2, have you read past the section that we're about to go over? Because there's so many people in the Facebook group that's like, I finished the book. I was like, oh my God, you guys are crazy. Like, I guess maybe I haven't been able to find time. Lots of Shallow and Firebird are 2 of my songs for the book. Ooh, cool. I finished it. Yeah, I figured you would, Solaria. Did you make a playlist or you just like, those are the 2 songs that you had? I would love for you to post that in the Facebook group so I can remember to go back and listen to those songs. They seem like they're really cool. And Firebird. What's Firebird? The song is The Queen and the Soldier. Oh, not The Queen in the Tower? Oh, because that's what I wrote down. Let me see. 2 songs I had. I'll hunt the videos. Yes, Solaria, do that. Yes, yes. Okay. I actually bought the Happiness Project journal for a friend of mine who was going through a hard time and she loved it. Heather, have you read the Happiness Project? My grandma's read the Happiness Project as well. She absolutely loved it and she has the Happiness Journal as well. It was so hard, but I only read the section we were supposed to. Oh, okay, good. Me too. I feel like if I would have had more time, I probably would have read through though. I've read the assigned reading, ... Did you read past it? Okay, so Raven Song. I think Raven Song, you said last live stream that you finished it and it was hard for you to bite your tongue on things, right? Is that you? This coffee is disgusting. Okay, well, I've only read up to the section, but I'm just curious to who has finished because when it comes to our next reading section, I would really love for us to just finish the book because it seems like so many of you guys already have finished the book that I don't want to drag this out if most of you are just done with it already. But with that, I'm assigning a ton of reading in 1 week. Like it's basically the same amount of reading that I assigned for 2 weeks. So I just kind of want to get a feel for where you guys are at. If you feel like next week should just be our last week and we could finish the rest of the book. Or if you want to break it up and kind of make 2 more weeks out of it and give ourselves time to like get the next book and stuff like that. Butterfly says, of course, cold coffee is yuck. Hot tea, baby, all the way. Yes, I love hot tea. That's so funny. Finished. Yep. Okay. Well, let me know. I'm going to start talking about the chapters now, but let me know your guys' thoughts. Should we break up the rest of the book into 2 weeks, 2 sections, or can we just finish the rest of it for next week and move on? I had to return books to library, not keeping up, ready for new book. Nice. Okay. Yes, love to finish the book. Passed the assigned reading, but not finished. Could easily finish by next week. I could probably finish the book. Okay. I'm a little worried for myself for reading the rest of the section of the book just because, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot, but I was surprised it's a pretty long book. It is a pretty long book. And a lot of books, like... I want to show you guys the difference here. I guess it's not that much of a difference. Like here's the Wendy Darling book. Right? So it's a pretty normal standard page with from top to bottom. I feel like standard fonts and stuff like that. But here is what the Uprooted looks like. And it may not make that much of a difference, but there's like 1 or 2 lines that go up higher that push up into the book. So I don't know if like like Naomi Novik submitted her writings to the publisher and they were like, this is going to be a fat ass book. We need to make this like, we need to kind of condense this somehow. So they decided to like up a couple lines, like 1 or 2 lines go up more. And so that it probably took away a decent amount of pages doing that, but there is more than I think the normal book writing on each page. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but I have, so yeah. Let's see. I would suggest splitting it just because we were all doing holiday prep. That's another thing that I was thinking about, but I feel like if we finish it now, then for the last book of the year, we might be able to take a little bit longer with, because there's going to be so much holiday stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I feel like it's been pretty quick. It's been going pretty quickly, but I read lots of 500-page books. Goals. Raven Song. When you read on Kindle, you really don't have a good idea as how long a book really is till only counts in percentages. No rush to finish. Hi, I can't stay long, but I wanted to pop in and say hello. Hi, Kat. How are you doing today? It's up to you, baby. Thanks, Butterfly. All right, we'll see how we feel. Let's go through and break down these chapters and see what's going on, because there is a lot of shit that happened in these chapters. You guys, I'm obsessed. I love this book. I think it's great. I love a good fiction that has a creepy overtone feel to it the entire way through. It just has every single chapter, something is happening. Every single chapter, there is some sort of new information that's like, what? Or there's a character that's something's happening to. It's so much, but I don't feel overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that's happening, where I've read books before where there's a ton of characters and things are happening all over the place, and I'm just kind of in my mind like, slow down, break it apart. This feels like it works really well. It is insanely fast-paced once things get going. I mean, even when in the very beginning, as soon as he takes her, it's like things are happening. But there is a point where it's like, okay, now she's been in the castle for a bit, and now like just things start to happen all at once. Random segue, but has anyone read YA fiction and The Merciless? Because if you like books where things go fast paced and no break, that's a good one. It's a little gory though. I've heard of that series. It's on my wish list. So you recommend it? I will totally look into it deeper. But yeah. Gore is cool in books, but in movies, I literally can't even take somebody getting a splinter in their finger. I just like, no. Okay, so chapter 17. Where did we start with this? So we left last section with Agnieszka and Kasia and the prince and Falcon all going to the kingdom with the queen. And you know that Kasia and the queen are going to be on trial because they were corrupted, and Dragon has to stay back at his lonely little tower. Aw, poor Dragon. But it is kind of weird how like the whole first part of that book is all around Dragon and Agnieszka, and it's like circled around them, and then all of a sudden the author's just like, okay, this character gets to stay back here for a really long time, and we're gonna totally develop this book in a new way, in a new setting, and just kind of scrap that character for a while. It felt kind of cool, actually. And so they had a really hard trek through the woods. Agnieszka was really tired. You know, I'm sure her booty hurt her from the long horse ride. Her legs were really weak, but they arrived at the city, and everybody's like gathered up and celebrating because the queen's home, and then the archbishop comes and does a spell to show everybody, or to make sure that the queen is no longer corrupted, and everyone kind of goes, ooh, oh my gosh, she's saved, she's back, huzzah, like, and then the king, Saw King sent Kasia and Queen to, so then they go to the king. It's like, oh, we're partying. Let's go see the king now. Shit gets serious for a second, and the king's like, great, she's hollow, don't know her anymore. Let's send these two women over to the healer, Willow, and we'll figure out what to do with them until the trial. You know, that's that. So Agnieszka kind of makes herself invisible and tags along, and tags along to see where they're going. And then like the guards catch her because wherever they're at, magic is like unveiled there. So all of a sudden she's able to be seen, and she has to kind of admit that she's a witch to these soldiers. And that's pretty much chapter 17. Let me see what you guys are. I'm the same. Book gore is fine. Film gore, nope. So, I mean, chapter 17, I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, great. Things are happening, wonderful. Okay, I'm kind of bored. Moving on to chapter 18. So then, because she's declared that she's a witch, they want, I'm going to make you some tea, Sammy. Oh, thanks, butterfly. Like in real life, or like in spirit of, like, are you gonna make yourself some tea and think of me while you drink it? Or she's brought to the 3 other wizards to be tried. So then we go to this wizard's lair area where there's I'm gonna forget the names. Alosha, there's Soya, there's Falcon's there too. And then there's, who's the other ones? I don't know. There's other wizards that kind of don't want anything to do with her. They're skeptical of her. They're just not into it. They're like, why are you going to go through the trial? Like, who even are you? Right? And then Soya offers to cast with her, and she's like, get out of my face. I'm not about it. I can do this myself. I'm a strong, independent woman. And she basically is failing the trial. Like, they tell her that basically, like, witches and wizards take 7 years to learn what they're doing before they get to go through the trial and be successful at it. And they keep trying to tell her to do all these spells and put her through all these tests, and she's basically failing pretty hard. I'm gonna make 2 cups and drink them both, but I will be thinking of you. Cute. Thanks, butterfly. That's super sweet. Alosha is a badass. She reminds me of Daga from the Circle of Magic books. Oh, I haven't read those, but those sound awesome. Yeah, I kind of like the way that Alosha looks when it's spelled out too. Don't particularly like trying to pronounce Alosha. It kind of feels weird in my mouth, but it looks cool on the page. So she's failing the trial, right? And then she kind of brings up like, well, this isn't how like Yaga would do it, you know, like this is not the kind of magic that I've learned to grow into. And they're like, no, that's just a fiction, that's a fantasy, she's not real, or blah 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 blah. No one uses that magic. And all she basically does is say one word and stomp her little sassy foot, and she shakes the kingdom and the castle. And everyone's kind of like, what the fuck? So I hope you're enjoying my retelling, by the way. Yeah, so everyone's kind of like, all right, what just happened? And all the guards come running, and the wizards and witches are kind of like, how did you do that? So by just like necessity now, they kind of put her as passed through the trial because of how powerful that one word and that one movement was. Yeah, so she passes, and then when she's being inducted, she basically has the balls to ask the king for soldiers. In her mind, she's wanting to ask him to pardon Kasha and to pardon the queen, or, you know, to prove to them that that she's no longer corrupted and that she shouldn't be put to death. But she knows that that's useless, and she knows what's better to serve her is to ask the king for soldiers, and to her surprise, he agrees. He doesn't really say how much or when or what, but he basically appeases her and says, great, I love your gumption, gal. We'll make a deal. We'll figure it out. And so that is chapter 18. I was really invested in that scene with her in the trial. I do kind of wish that the test that they were making her do would have been better explained. Like, I feel like that would have been a really juicy. Oh, and she refuses to change her name. Yes, I love that. Thanks, Alter Ego. Yeah, so they want her, when she's like signing to be inducted as a witch at the council and stuff. Oh my God, my grandma texted me and it came through, sorry. So, she, you know, everyone has like their dragon and falcon and all that stuff. She didn't really want a name, so she's just Agnieszka. Agnieszka of Devernik, or whatever her city is, which I thought, like Alter Ego said, was pretty badass. And then, so that is chapter 18, right? Chapter 19. Feel free to stop me if you guys want to talk about things. I'm sure like questions and conversations will come up, but for now, that's just where we're getting, because there's some meaty stuff that happens in the next couple of chapters. So chapter 19. What does it say? Oh, so now that she's like an inducted witch, everybody is really, she's in high demand for her appearance at people's parties. So, basically she keeps getting all these invites to go to these parties and make appearances for things. And she doesn't really know what to do. And Soya kind of comes and says, you know, I'll take you. I'll figure it out with you. Like, you know, if you want my company, I can tell you who's who and what's what and how to do things, and let me escort you and show you the ropes. And she, again, is kind of like a stick it to the man, like, I don't need you. I'm an independent woman. Get out my face. No, I don't want your help. I can do this on my own. And he's like, okay, fine. See ya. Agnieszka makes a friend. I didn't write her name down because I didn't think she was that important, and I kind of forgot what it was. So if you guys remember, you can write it in the comments. But basically, she makes a friend at one of the parties, and she starts spending the next 3 days with her at all these other parties and doing these things until she realizes that she is basically a bitch. She keeps making fun of her and like being really passive aggressive, and she's basically bullying her or making fun of everything she says and talking down to her. And so in the middle of this party, when she realizes that she's being condescending and being kind of a bitch, she basically does a little spell in front of everybody to like pull her wig or pull her hat weird, and like moves her hair. She's mortified and she runs screaming from the party, and everyone's giggling at her and delighted at like the mockery that Agnieszka has made of this girl. But yeah, I saw a comment about Soya. So I feel like Soya is actually trying to be helpful as well as wanting the political capital. Yeah, I do too. I feel like I don't feel like Soya is all that bad. I at that part in the like in that part of the book, at least, I feel like she's just kind of grumpy and doesn't want to be there, and she doesn't want to have to do these things, and she's just kind of like blocking people out to block people out. I think she does realize that Soya does have alternative motives to things, but I don't think that he's really all that bad in this situation of like wanting to take her to parties. Like, yeah, it would make him look good, but I don't know why she didn't just say yes, but I think it's more so again like, I don't need nobody. I'm fine. So afterwards, I'm trying to think of what happened because I made little notes, but so after she like humiliates and realizes that oh yeah, lady, I don't know how to say that though. I'm trying to, wouldn't it just be Alicia? Alicia? Is it Alicia, but just spelt weird? Um, Alicia. Anyways, yes, that's the other person. So, oh no, that's the girl. Is she friends? Okay, sorry. The names are so weird that sometimes it's just flies out of my mind. Thanks, Rachel. So after she realizes that this girl is basically not even really her friend and she's being rude to her the whole time, she's upset and she like storms to Kasha's, where Kasha and the queen is being held, and she's like, I gotta figure something out. I'm wasting my time here. What's going on? I need to figure out how to get an army to kill the wood and all of these things. And when she goes to where Kasha is, the prince and the healer Willow are arguing, and Prince basically tells Agnieszka that she needs to fix the queen or the king will kill the queen and Kasha, and that the king will remarry somebody else. So there's some other suitor there for the king who has recently lost her husband and that is trying to be remarried to the king. And if something doesn't happen, that this woman's going to remarry the king, or is going to marry the king, and the king's going to put the queen and Kasha to death. So she doesn't really know what to do, but that's kind of how that ends, is that Marek, the prince, is kind of like, the healer Willow ain't doing anything. She's useless. And you need to figure this out, Agnieszka. You need to save them because nobody else is. And I can't see my mother die because I'm a whiny little baby. Right? Isn't Marek like the worst? He is so annoying. He's such a brat. I mean, I get it. He's passionate. He loves his family. He loves his mom. But I also just like can't. He needs to be punched. Since Soya and Marek are friends, Marek might have told Soya to keep a close eye on her. Also, that marriage would stop the war between the two countries. Ah, thank you. There's a lot of information, Rachel, that we kind of covered in this little, like this section. It's not a little section, so it's hard to kind of remember all those bits. But yeah, at this point, what, for those of you who read the section, at this point, not knowing what the rest of the section or the rest of the book brought, what was your feelings? Like, what did you guys, because in my mind, I thought that Agnieszka was going to be able to figure out some sort of spell, or to figure out some sort of way to heal the queen, which she kind of does, but it's not intentionally to heal the queen. Like, when they're in this scene in chapter 19, and Marek is kind of like, oh, you need to fix her. The healer can't heal her. You're supposed to be this amazing witch. You need to figure this out. For some reason, I thought that she was going to come up with one of Yaga's spells to like heal her. Does that make sense? So what did you guys think? Like, was there something, did you just not know? You're just trying to see what the book brought itself, or what? I also want a drink of water. Because that's kind of what I felt when I read that section. I was like, okay, the healer can't heal her, so Agnieszka's going to heal her. Which is kind of what happened. I don't know why my phone doesn't want to keep focusing on me. It's kind of what happens, and we'll find that out in the next chapter or two. But I don't know. I just didn't see it going the way that it went. And side note, in the middle of this, when I was done with the section, I was trying to tell George about it, because George reads a lot of Audible books. He does not read like regular books, but he listens to a lot of Audible books with me, and they're all based around this type of book. And so I was telling him like how we need to get this on Audible because he would love it. It's really right up his alley. And he's like, well, tell me a little bit about the book. So I tried to give him a little bit, and I basically was telling him more about like the wood, and how what's nice about the book is that the wood keeps you on your toes, because the author really has so much that she can play with when it comes to how things are corrupted, or who gets corrupted, or you might not know somebody or something is corrupted until it's too late. And that's what's so cool about it. It's almost like the people or the things turn into zombies, but you just don't know when they're slowly turning into zombies, that they can be corrupted at any point. And that's probably the most interesting thing about this book, is that the wood and the corruption of the wood really keeps you on your toes, and you don't really know how or what or why something can get corrupted, where at times you're like, wait a minute. So this is how this works, but this isn't how this works. And one of those things in my mind was that, so I understand that there is a difference between the queen and Kasha being taken by the wood and being fully corrupted and inside the trees, and like Marek and Dragon and Agnieszka and the two soldiers that made it out of the wood just being in the wood and possibly being corrupted. And they were a little corrupted. They had to, purge themselves of the corruption, but it was at a different level. But at the same time, don't you think that no matter what, if you go into the wood, you should be tried? Like you should have a trial, because there still could be, why are they not questioning the prince and Dragon and the two soldiers that made it out and Agnieszka? for being corrupted as well. I don't know. Did anybody think of that either? Or was it like, okay, no, they only care about those that were like in it, like they were in the trees? Because Kasha has definitely changed now. She's different. She's strong. Like things don't affect her body the same way. And the queen is like this weird shell of a person. But at the same time, like if they're that crazy where they're just gonna like kill the queen or kill anyone who's corrupted, no matter if they're not corrupted anymore or not, don't you think that there would have been a little bit more inspection about Kasha and Dragon and Marek and the two soldiers? Like they were in the wood. It wasn't like they were gallivanting around the wood. Like they were in it, touching things, killing things, pulling things out of things. So that was one thing in my mind where I was like, it was a little weird, but I'll go with it. It's fine. Did anybody else feel that way or kind of in their mind have something where they're like, this magic doesn't make all that sense? I thought it was a bit strange that they would try someone, but not all. Yeah, Jackie, that's kind of what I was getting at too. I mean, like I said, I guess there definitely is a big difference between how invested the queen and Kasha were with the wood, but I don't know. They don't even bat an eye at the prince. Like, to me, the prince is corrupted. Like, he's corrupted. He was in the wood, and the wood let him go, so that he could they could plant this. I don't know. So, anyways, chapter 20. Chapter 19 ends with Kasha having the balls to ask the king for soldiers to go into the wood and defeat the wood, and he says, all right, sounds good. You seem ballsy. I like it. Chapter 20 is, I basically have the question right here. Why doesn't Agnieszka, Marek, and Dragon have to be tried for going into the wood? Because I was like, at that point, I'm like, this is such a big deal. This is their queen. Their queen. And even though she's been gone for 2 decades, they're just basically casually being like, oh, they're going to kill the queen. Like, why are they not making a bigger deal about the rest of the people that went into the wood? But Kasha goes to the library Agnieszka goes to the library and to try to find spells or anything or books that might help her or some insight on things. And she wants really badly to talk to Dragon at this point. She's just feeling like she's lost. She doesn't know what to do. She needs his comfort and she needs his guidance, but she doesn't know how to reach him. She keeps talking about wanting to do some sort of spell to like throw her voice, but he's too far away and the spells that she knows will only go like screaming into the next city. And so the Archbishop Ballo, I think I'm gonna say Ballo because that's how I saw it in my mind being pronounced. But she kind of asks him like, is there any spell? Is this possible? Can I do this? He's like, no, that's not how it works, honey. But in my mind, I was like, you don't know how it works. She has the spells of Yaga, and nothing works the same way as everybody thinks. And let me take a break, though. Oh, I thought Bella was a monk, and the Archbishop was different. It is. I'm sorry. Like I said, there's a lot of characters. You're right. Bella was the monk. Thank you. There's a lot of people with weird names and a lot of characters. So, and sometimes the author just like throws one in a scene for a second and they might say one thing and you're like, in your mind when you're reading the scene, you have an awareness of who's like in the room, even if no one is saying something and it's not important that they're there at that time, you still kind of know they're there, but unless they're interacting in the conversation, it's kind of hard to remember who or what or everyone that's involved, if that makes sense. There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of movement and stuff to keep up with, but I feel like I'm comprehending it well. It's just hard to like reiterate it back clearly to everybody. Yeah, I really loved Ballo too. I thought, it's sad what happens. It's really sad what happens. But so she's in the library. She really wants to talk to Dragon, and she's kind of like trying to use her intuition to find a book. She doesn't really know what she's looking for. This gave me total Hermione in the forbidden section of Harry Potter library vibes. She's like up on this ladder, and she's just like, show me what I need to know kind of thing. She's trying to, nothing's calling to her. All of the books are like not it, right? And then she does find this little black book, and it has the spells of some witch, I can't remember the name of her either, from like the 1280 or something like that, and she used to live in the same city or the same town that Agnieszka was. And even though she didn't think she found anything of use in this little book, she looked at a few spells, and then we kind of brushed over that and went along with the rest of our chapter here. But commences in the same, commences them to save the queen. Okay, I'm trying to look at my little notes here. Oh, big important part. So after she finds this little black book, she then goes and is looking through more stacks, and she can like feel something evil and palpable underneath all these other, with like leather binding. And she's like, oh shit, this is corrupted. Like, I can feel it. Smells like I'm in the wood. No. And then she basically, I think Ballo and Alosha show up, right? Is that what happens? Remind me, guys. And Agnieszka's like, dude, found this corrupted book. What do we do with it? This has been here for a really long time. This is not okay. Like, for sure, this is corrupted. What do we do? And Alosha says some stuff that's like, I don't know. And then we kind of just move on, right? So basically, Agnieszka tells them, like, we need to save the queen. We need to save Kasia, and we need to save the queen, not just because I love them, not just because I feel like they need to be saved, but because this has to happen, because we need to, like, we need to kill the wood, and, because, I'm sorry, it's a lot, guys. Alosha and Ballo are kind of like, let's just kill the queen. She's corrupted. They're just people. Like, yeah, she's the queen, but we've been alive for like 200 years, and killing people die. It's no big deal. And let's just move on. Let's just unite the two kingdoms. Let's remarry the king. Like, it's a simple logic thing. And Kasia's just a girl. We don't care about her. But basically Agnieszka is like trying to convince them that there's evil, the wood is still corrupting in things. We're now finding this book. Like, there's more here than what people are seeing. We need to keep them alive. And so Alosha and Ballo sort of kind of start to get on the same page, but not really. It's a little interesting in this section to hear about how old Alosha is, and how all, like, what her past is, and how it's watching people die. And this is the first time Agnieszka kind of realizes, like, oh, how long am I going to live? Like, I'm going to watch all of my family grow old and die, and I'm not. So that was kind of weird. And then, so Alosha goes, all right, fine. I still think they need to be killed, but let's meet in the middle. Let's suggest to the king that Kasia and the queen should go to the furthest city and lock them in a tower for 10 years. And then we'll see what happens. And we'll move on from there. So then they're not being killed, but maybe something cool will happen with them, and they'll like miraculously get better, or like we'll be able to defeat the wood in that time, and lock them away for 10 years. And then Agnieszka's kind of like, what? That's not good enough. 10 years. That's so long. So you don't even really have a moment to think about like the repercussions of that, because then Soya comes in and says, hey, yo, the trial's actually going on now. You guys need to come. And so that's how chapter 20 ends. Any thoughts? Any, anything you guys want to bring up at this point? Are you just kind of like listening to me recap the book? Because I do have like a couple things we can bring up. But at this point, there was so much that happens, especially from here to the end, like from chapter 21 to 25. It's like, I think I literally, yeah, I put shit pops off. Shit pops off. And then I think the next one, that's horrible. And then I think the next chapter, I think, yep, things are cray cray. I hate myself. Why? And actually found these really cool questions online. yeah, so like, but it's sort of kind of like this is more, these questions are more along the lines on if I was like teaching a class and I wanted to make sure my students were actually reading the section, I would like give them an assignment to like answer this question to make sure that they're reading it. So I don't know if it's interesting for us to go over these, but like one of them says, wizards ordinarily took 7 years of study before asking to be admitted to the list. Why was Agnieszka asking for it after only a year? Why did the other wizards believe her to be worthy or to have enough command of magic to join them initially? And we kind of just, we went over that, and that was because, you know, she stomped her foot and did some weird yaga spell and shook the whole place. They were shook. People were shooketh of her spell, so they inducted her into it. Rachel says, I really liked when Agnieszka had the realization that everyone in her village is connected to the wood. Oh, was that then? Yes, that's so important. Oh, I needed you today, Rachel, because there's so much information to recap. So in Heather. So yeah, so when her and Alosha are talking about basically what to do, and Alosha basically tells her like your a bit of you is tied to the wood. It kind of explains to her why, like, or asks, poses the question to her, like, why has your village stayed the village where it's at? Why has Devernick chose to stay so close to the wood when they're running the risk of being corrupted, and there's other places that they could migrate to, and basically kind of tells her, and I don't know how to summarize this, basically kind of tells her like, because the wood has attached and connected themselves through her entire village and everybody in the village, and the why the painting of the spindle made her creeped out when she first went to Dragon's Tower. Rachel, I need you today. Yeah, so if you guys remember, there's this like tapestry or painting when she first went to Dragon's Tower, and it's like showing everything like all connected and all these lines and things. And it made her really uncomfortable, and that's why, it's because I think she knew deep down that the wood was running basically all through the town, but in a different way. It's not like everyone was corrupted, but everyone is definitely almost like an addiction to the woods. Like they can't be too far away from it. And she talks about how she really, really wants to go back home, and how she's always like felt like she was being missing something, or that she belonged in her town. But I never really thought past of it other than like I'm homesick, or, you know, obviously she doesn't want to be in this tower with this evil guy that's like kind of annoying. Or she doesn't want to have to be begging for her friend's life in the kingdom. Like she just wants to be a normal girl. But yeah, so that's really interesting. I mean, I kind of hope that they play into that a bit more when it comes down to like, you know, there has to be some sort of battle or big thing that happens with the wood. I'm kind of hoping that they kind of go into that more. It's a nice little bit or a nice little piece of information. But if that's all they do with it, like, okay, cool. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot that they could do with that there. And obviously, if you've read the book and that you know that they do go into it more, please don't say anything. But yeah, so thank you, Rachel, for reminding me of that part, because that is something that's like, I feel like Agnieszka has this epiphany, and the epiphany is about her realizing, oh my god, everybody around me is going to grow old and die, and I'm not. And 10 years to Alosha seems like a blink of the eye, but to me it seems like the end of everything. But that was really, you know, it was eye-opening for her. And then realizing that her village, her town is like connected and woven into the magic of the wood. Big things happening. Okay, so I'm just making sure I didn't miss any comments. So, chapter 21, right? They go to the trial. This was really well written. I felt like I was there. I felt like I've been waiting for this. I felt like it was done so, I just felt like it was really well done. I don't know how you guys feel, but there's certain sections in this book that are really impressing me, and then I'm able to visualize so clearly and kind of feel like I'm there. And this was one of those scenes. And so she's at the trial, and they show the queen free of corruption. So, you know, people go up and they're doing spells again to show that she has no corruption in her. But everyone's kind of like, yeah, but she was corrupted. So the law says, like, oh, you know, best freaking chapter. I loved this chapter. I thought it was so well done. Yeah, I really liked it. And so basically, everybody knows, great, she's not corrupted, but she's not saying anything. She's not a person anymore. We don't give a shit about Kasha. We're not even trying to see anything about her, because basically whatever the fate of the queen is going to get, they're probably just going to give Kasha that anyways. And the expression on the king's face, and everybody in the room knows that, like, by law and everything, it doesn't matter what anyone says or does, like, they're just going to have to put him to death. And so Agnieszka basically, or Marek says, okay, let's let Agnieszka do something. Like, help us, Agnieszka. Like, it's not working. They're going to kill her. So she decides to use an illusion spell. And the way that the author described this scene was so cool. So she starts to basically realize that people just want to know what happened. Like, the only way that they're going to understand the severity of what took place and how they got them was for them to be given the story and given the past of the book and being shown in detail. So she weaves this illusion spell. Basically, everybody can see, almost like an old movie. In my mind, it was almost like a hologram. And the tree was there, and the knights' heads were rolling past everybody. Everyone's screaming in the crowd, like, and she's there. She's like living it again, and she can see dragon. She knows that it's an illusion, but at some point, the dragon and Agnieszka like lock eyes. And for a second, it's him in real life, and he's like, "What are you doing? How are you doing this?" And then basically that's it. He's gone, and you can see the queen being saved, all that stuff. And so she basically paints this very vivid, real life retelling of what happened in the wood. And the king is like, enough. F this shit. We don't need this. Like, this is enough. They have to die. Okay, great reenactment, but like, they have to die. This is just too much. This is too much. And Marek starts shouting. The prince is like, no, my God, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, the queen speaks. The queen's like, you saved me. I'm here. I remember. All of a sudden, I'm not this hollow shell, and everyone's like, oh, the queen, she speaks, she lives. I can't do that chapter justice. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was everything it needed to be. And then also you have this little snippet of like, how did she connect in this illusion spell with dragon, and how is she going to use this in the future? Like, this was cool. It was really cool. Let me just see if I forgot anything. Oh, yeah. So the queen is like, hey, Marek saved me. They saved me. I'm good now. And I'm ready to die. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I know that that's what you have to do. I know that you have to kill me. I wasn't talking, and I wasn't here because I just feel like I'm ready to die, right? But she said, I don't want to die being a traitor to my husband and my kingdom. So I didn't leave with some other guy. I didn't run away with some other guy, which is what everyone's thought up until this point. I was stolen, and I was tied to one of the trees, and it was the guy from Rosania or something, the other kingdom. Basically, she's like, the other kingdom, the guy from the other kingdom kidnapped me and put me in the wood. So now they're like, let's go to war. Like, this is it. You took my queen. I'm gonna come for you. Recap. Let's check in. I feel like too, this is one of the reasons why I was leery about doing a fiction book, even though I wanted to do a fiction book so bad because I enjoy fiction and I knew that you guys enjoyed fiction. But as far as live streaming goes, it's hard to keep a conversation going and kind of recap what's happening and to ask good questions. You know, it's just different than what we would if we were to be reading a different book. I'm really, really, really like, even more so now when we're talking about this, that like I really would love to do the Happiness Project with you guys. I think it would be really good because I feel like our conversations and our goals and getting things done for the rest of the year and setting up 2019 is just going to be so good. Or maybe if you guys aren't interested in the Happiness Project, there's some other like witchy self-help that we can do moving forward, because I just think it would be really good. Let me see. Oh, this question goes, I can't remember. Does Gretchen Rubin address spirituality at all? Have you read The Happiness Project? Is that why? Raquel? I think she approaches it more from like a mindfulness. So I think I can't remember either. It's been years since I've read the book. I'm sure there's little bits in there. I have, but I don't remember all of it. Yeah, so I'm sure there's bits in there. Like she it's more so mindfulness, I think, that she really goes into, like meditation, and um I know that she goes into like the effects of spirituality through like all of these habits and these trying to eat better and be healthy and clean her house and be a better parent and be a better wife and things like that. I feel like it just kind of bleeds into spirituality, even if she doesn't write it out in a spiritual way, if that makes sense. But yeah. Sorry, I'm reading this question to see if I'm going ahead too much. Think and plan work towards its end. Okay, sorry, I was just trying to read this question to see. This was going back a little bit about what we were talking about with Alosha and Agnieszka. It says Alosha told Neshka that she was too young to be as strong as you are. You haven't let go of people. When you've seen a century of your own go by, you'll have more sense. What sense was she lacking that Alosha had? See? Those were good questions. If we would have done it in like a, this is my class, I'm teaching you, and have you read the section? Let's see if you know the answer. Mindfulness and meditation are foundations for a good magical practice. I agree. And you don't have to meditate, but mindfulness, definitely, just being aware. All right, let's keep going, because we're an hour and 12 minutes into, and we still have a couple more chapters. Let's see. Literally, chapter 22 starts off with shit pops off. Neshka sees the queen talking and feels something wrong. She's like, whoa, oops, I did something weird. That's not the real queen, or like, she is not, that is not, nope, something's weird. Don't feel right about this. So basically she's like, there's the wood still corrupted in us somewhere, and that is not the queen, or whatever she's talking about, like the wood is talking for her. So she grabs Kasha, she runs to a room basically, and she puts a protection spell over herself immediately, and she's kind of like questioning Kasha, like if the queen is still corrupted. Maybe I didn't see it before, but maybe Kasha's still corrupted. And Kasha's kind of like, bitch, do you think I'm corrupted? I kind of feel like maybe what if I am? What's happening? And so basically they lock themselves in a room, and she casts another spell, another illusion spell, to try and talk to Dragon. It worked for a second, and she's like basically trying to tell him like, the queen is talking again, but something's wrong. Like there's definite corruption here. There's definite things taken over. And then all of a sudden Dragon's like, okay, I get it. Like, and then he like looks to the side and the illusion spell is broken. And it's, yeah. So they start leaving the room or something. Somebody remind me what happens. I don't know. They leave the room, or I don't know, they're trying to go somewhere else. Then all of a sudden there's this crazy ass beast that appears. The author who wrote The Green Witch is coming out with another book called The Witch's Book of Self-Care. It will be released December 11th. Yes, I actually have already pre-ordered it. And I think it's supposed to be shipping, I don't know, it's supposed to be shipping soon. I already ordered it. That was one that I was thinking about looking at first, and then possibly putting up for another book for us, maybe for January, or the one after the next one, just because it won't be out in time for us to like have it be our next book. But yeah, that's a good suggestion, Heather. I already have, and I was like, I just saw that when I was Googling witchy self-help books. I just thought I'd throw that out there. No, yeah, that's totally on my list of things that we can go into, because it's funny because we started with the Green Witch book, and I thought it was a really great starting book for this book club to get the ball rolling. We had a lot of great conversations based around it. And it's funny because there's been so many videos since then of other people doing like reviews about how they hated the book, and how, or if they didn't hate it, that they thought it was basically shit. That they were like, it's bad, it's like not, whatever. And I get like all the points that they were saying is really valid. Like it's very surfacey, it's very basic 101, like take an herb and make something of it, or think about your home. So if you're looking for like deep roots into witchcraft or spirituality or paganism or just magic in general, like that's a very, very light, simple, basic type of book. But as far as like a book to start off our book club and to have conversations going, and I feel like the homework that we did was really great for it. I enjoyed it. And so that's why I purchased the next one, and I think it might be really interesting for us to dive into, but we shall see. Any other comments? No. Okay. So beast appears. The beast. And basically it is knocking everything down. Everyone's trying to fight it. It's definitely from the wood. Like it's some crazy ass dog thing. I don't even remember how they described it. I kind of blocked it out of my mind because it's scary to me. And by the end of the fight, basically the prince, I think, is there fighting, and everyone's there fighting, and all of a sudden, nothing is working. And Agnieszka remembers that there's this lightning spell that she saw in that one magical little book from that other witch. So she casts it, and basically she becomes like Zeus for a moment, and the clouds appear, and this lightning comes, and she has it in her hand, and that's like burning her hand, and she throws it at the beast, and the beast dies like immediately. This lightning bolt was good stuff, good work. But now she like basically exerted all her power, and her hands are burning. And the people are like, let's just stab its eyeball again to make sure it's really dead. It did not move. It was dead as a doornail. It's good to go. So basically she realizes like that the book was the reason why this beast became the beast. Like, because she was going to tell the king about the book and all these things. So she runs to where the book was in the library, and she finds that the king is dead, as well as a few other people around the book, and that Ballo, the monk, was there trying to like purge it of the corruption, and he was the one that turned into the beast. So she just had to kill Ballo. Really sad. Oh my god. Ooh, that's a good idea. I should Google witchy self-help books too. Yeah, I mean, I would be a little like, I would really look into those books, because I feel like with anything searching witchy books or self-help books, you're gonna get a lot of like the ones that are, you're gonna get a lot of the ones that are popular. And that's okay, because some of them are really, really good, and some of them just might have really pretty covers. So just maybe if you find one, you're like, oh, this one sounds good, just look up a little review on YouTube, or maybe read a little bit more of like what the comments have to say or something, because I've kind of run into that before, where a lot of the like, I have a really beautiful cover and I'm the most searched on Amazon, I'm the most purchased on Amazon, but I might not have the best like review. Do you know what I mean? So, but there are like some really good ones. Like when you say like witchy self-help, there's already like 4 or 5 that come up in my mind that I know will probably be like at the top of the list. And that's okay, because maybe everybody's different in their path and in their journey too, and other people connect to different writings and different information in their own ways. So somebody might really want to just dive into a book that's like hearty and meaty and old and rich in history and really dense and there. And some people just want like the easy, modern, popular way to talk about things. And it's just whatever you like is what you like, and what works works. So yeah, but yeah, Big Magic could also be a good book to do too. Yes, I have Big Magic right here, actually. I was just gifted this as a, I was just gifted this. And I have wanted to read it for a long time. I don't know if I don't know much about it, so I don't know if it would fit into this category of Witchy Book Club. So I'll keep that in mind. I'll maybe read a little bit more through that one for you guys, and we can probably put it up for one of next year's books or something. If everyone's like, yes, let's read that. So I'm tired. I need like water. Oh, am I gonna drink this cold coffee? No, I'm not. So, okay. The king is dead. Ballo is dead. R.I.P. Ballo. I saw your comment there, Rachel. Felt so bad. And they realized like this book needs to go. This is where it came from. This is the deal. So everyone's freaking out in chapter 23. So everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, it's her fault. Since she's come here, since Agnieszka's come here and brought the queen back, all this shit's happening. It's her fault. We don't know. Maybe she was the one that did it, and blah, 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 blah. We should just kill her. Everyone's freaking out, yelling, pretty much blaming Agnieszka for this. And Alosha pulls a Professor McGonagall, if I have ever heard one. She basically is like, silence, you will hear me speak. I know more than you guys. I've been here. I was here when Agnieszka found the book. You guys are being ridiculous. Here's how it's gonna go, right? Basically, she was like, we need to find the prince and the queen, and we need to just get rid of this book. I'm reading that now. Oh, Big Magic, Heather? Yeah. So, yeah, Alosha comes in, pulls a Professor McGonagall, and is like, no, everyone settle down, children. This is how it's going to go. So Alosha starts working her magic. It's hard to discern witchy from non-witchy, because almost anything could be witchy if you identify as a witch. Big Magic is amazing. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's kind of like, that's why I don't feel like doing a self-help book. Like, of course, self-help can be considered witchy, especially the way that you approach it, or that you choose to approach it. And I feel like whatever the section is for, like if we did the Happiness Project, if she's talking about home and organizing her home and decluttering and all of those things, like our homework or the way our conversation is based can be more on the natural type way, or conversations that we had before, and linking it to that. So hi Isadora, how are you this morning? Hi Autumn. Hi, I'm sorry I'm late, went to a chocolate coma last night. Goals. That's okay. It's me just recapping the section right now, and kind of like just talking here and there about certain things. It's hard to do a live stream about a fiction book and keep good conversations going on, but we're just kind of recapping because there was a lot that happened in the section. Sammy, you're so beautiful today. Oh, always, but today it's kind of a special beautiful. Thank you, because I'm feeling a little hot potato. So thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. All right, everyone's freaking out. King's dead. Alosha comes in and is like, settle down, settle down. Let's try and, wait, hold on. Then they went to find them. Burning. Okay, so she tried burning the book. Alosha is doing her magic. All this sparks. It looks like she's really exerting all herself. And finally, Agnieszka's like, all right, you need help. Let me help you. And she starts singing this chant, and the flames start to actually catch on the book because the book was resisting being burned. The book was not working towards the magic Alosha was doing. Agnieszka basically burns it with her, and all is good and well. But Agnieszka's basically spent all of her magic. And this is pretty much the first time that you actually hear about not being able to do any more magic. And when I was looking into reviews about this book before we chose it, the downsides, like the things that people were talking about that they didn't like about the book, was that there's no rules. There's no rule system based on the magic. Like anything goes, and it's hard to discern like what can or can't happen. It's nice because anything can happen, but at the same time, there has to be some sort of foundation or like rules around or system that people can understand and grasp about magic, about doing magic, about spells. And I haven't had a problem with it yet. But I feel like this is the first time where you're like, no, there is boundaries, because they describe her magic as like pulling out from a well, and you can only pull so much out. You might have a lot in there, and you know, you might be able to train yourself to kind of build up your more strength over time to do more power or do more spells over a time. But at some point you're going to exert yourself, and you're not going to have anything left. There's not going to be anything left in the well to use. I thought that was kind of important for this to happen, because up until now, it's like, oh, she can just do whatever she wants when she wants, but there's no sort of like end game, there's an end date, or like running out of resources kind of thing. So that was something I wanted to mention. I don't know if you guys felt that. Hi, Jen Mary. Hi, I just found your channel last week, and I can't wait to join in on the Witchy Book Club on the next book. Yes, thanks. Hi, Jen. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Witchy Book Club. If you haven't already, we have a Facebook group as well where we talk more in depth and we share our homeworks and stuff like that. So it's facebook.com/groups/Witchy Book Club if you didn't already find it. Welcome. So basically, she goes, all right, I'm losing my focus really bad, guys, but we're almost through this. So then they went to find the prince and the queen. They were going to go to war. Okay, so they burned the book. And I felt like the chapter could have ended there because, you know, she spent her magic and all this stuff. They burned the book, but then they tried to go find what's going on, and the prince and the queen, and they're all like trying to figure out what's going to happen, who's going to go to war with this other kingdom, because they basically kidnapped the queen, and that's the reason why she was corrupted by the wood. All these things. Marek is ready to just go to battle, and he's ready to defend his kingdom, but the queen's like, actually, Marek, you're gonna stay here. And the prince, what's his name? Dang it, I can't remember his name. The other guy, the other cute little prince, is gonna be the one that's going to go out on the battlefield, and he's got the princess, and he's got these two little kids. He's got a boy and a girl, and he's gonna be the one that's gonna go out, and Marek is pouting. He is not happy about it. He is like, why does he get to go and I don't get to go? Because if I come back victorious, they're gonna make me king. Yeah, he definitely is such a whiny brat. But the queen basically is like, here's what's happening. The king is dead now, and I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. And everyone basically has to listen to her. So basically, the queen got a letter during this conversation that instead of them having to go out and having the advantage to go and like attack this kingdom, they got word that the other kingdom is already on its way with a bunch of soldiers on foot and horseback, or they're just charging the kingdom, and they have to prepare themselves to defend the kingdom. So Neshka basically is just, she's totally spent, and she passes out, and spent, and the crowned prince gears up to go fight. So Marek couldn't. Yeah, Agnieszka basically passes out, and you realize that their kingdom is going to be attacked. Chapter 24. We only have 2 more to get through. I'm trying my best. It's a lot of information to cover. Kasha slept or Agnieszka slept and awoke to Alosha sharpening a sword. She's in this room, basically with the princess kids and Kasha and all these things, and says no, tried to convince Soya and Marek to do summoning spell on the queen. Right. So now she's freaking out. She's like, the queen is no good. We need to figure out, like, she's corrupted. Like, why are we going to war with this other, like, we need to be focusing on the wood. We don't need to be focusing on going to war with this other kingdom. Like, we need to do a summoning spell and show people that the queen actually does have the wood in her and she is corrupted. And everyone's like, we don't have time for that. We're being attacked. So they said no. Everybody else said no to kind of going in and trying to call out the queen. They're like, we just got her back. Like, no, we're not going to try her again. It's over. So Neshka found a room with the princess, Alosha fighting with Kasha, evil, corrupted soldiers. What's happening? I can't remember, like, oh, that's right. Okay, big things happening, right? So, basically, she's like, fuck this, you guys. Like, this is, you guys, nobody understands me or what's happening. I need to go find Alosha, and or I need to go find Kasha and everything. So she finds this room and she like sees under the door that there's stuff like gray light coming through, and she goes in and she finds that the soldiers have kind of come in and attacked, and Alosha is fighting with these corrupted soldiers from the other kingdom, and she's been wounded really bad. There's like this wardrobe. In my mind, what I'm picturing for this wardrobe is literally like the wardrobe from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And Kasha's got like her body up against it, and she is trying to defend whatever's inside, and she sees the princess is dead. Yeah, because Alosha is badass. And I totally feel like she is the Professor McGonagall of this book. Like, you fear her, but then you love her, but you know that she just means business, and she's wise beyond her years, and she gets it, right? And they're slicing people in half. All of the things are happening, and so Agnieszka makes this summoning spell for the gray smoke of corruption to come out of these people, and then they just turn into actual normal humans, and then they just like fall on the ground and die. It's a big thing, very well written. It's quick, like it's a really quick scene, but you can tell like the weight and the intensity of the scene. When you're reading it, it's just like a lot. It's happening quick. Very plot twisty in my mind, and I really liked it. The princess is dead, which is like heartbreaking. And yeah, so Kasha takes the children out and kind of like covers their faces, and it's in the wardrobe she's hiding the princess's children, and she takes them out and they run, and Alosha's basically like, save yourself, kill the wood. And you just kind of assume that Alosha's dead at that point, but they leave in time, like before they can actually see her die, I believe. So let me just make sure. And they find out that the prince is dead as well, who went out and tried to, I can't remember his name, not Marek, but the other prince who has the 2 children. So those 2 children now are orphans. Their dad died in the battle, and their mom was killed by the soldiers in that room. Sigmund! Thank you! Sigmund. Yeah. A lot happens in like a few pages, and it's really intense, really well written, and I was like sitting in my chair like, ooh, it is happening! Things are happening! And then, let me just see if yeah, the wood was winning and present. Yes. So, they're like, all right, this. We are out of here. Like, this is it. The wood is all around this building. Now we have these corrupted soldiers in here. These children are now orphans. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do now. This is done. And finally, Agnieszka's like, we just need to go to Dragon. Like, we need to find where he is. We need to go to Dragon. I don't know what else to do or where to go. So they're now on the run with these two children to try and find Dragon. And chapter 25, I literally, wow, it's cray. And then Kasia and Agnieszka took the kids. They basically are able to like go through the walls and leave the castle and kind of pass everyone by. People are starting to see them like running with these children. She gets to the edge of the water and she builds this like boat out of sticks with a spell, and then she puts the kids in there. They're firing arrows. From what I remember, an arrow lands in the back of Kasia, but it doesn't affect her or something because of what the wood did to her. Somebody clarify that with me, because I was so invested in what was going to happen next. I kind of just pushed past it and I was like, oh, she seems fine. It's okay. But is that what happened? Kasia like laid her body over the children to save them from these arrows, and one like went into her back or something? I don't know. But so anyways, they're not getting away fast enough. So Agnieszka puts this go fast spell on the boat, and the boat basically takes off way too quickly and like smashes, from what I've read, kind of like disintegrates by the time it gets to the other side of where they need to go. And oh my gosh, people are calling me. I'm getting Instagram notifications. Almost done here. And basically they got away, but she's like, all right, I need to be careful with that fast spell because that could have been really bad. And so she makes these buffalo or these oxen out of dirt with this new spell. And it, again, here's a little thing where I was like, okay, so why wouldn't one of the wizards do something like that than actually use their horses when they were traveling from the dragons to the kingdom in the first place? Why wouldn't they just have their horses there with them in case they needed them? But why wouldn't they create a spell? Do you guys know what I'm saying? You guys feel me or no? So basically she makes these animals out of dirt, and she has to keep patching them up with her magic, and she creates this little cart, and they're driving away, and they're trying to get to Dragon. We're like, I don't know what to do. We're on the hunt. I love this mood, this feeling in the book of like that we have no other option. We're fleeing for our lives. I felt it was really, really like gripping and suspenseful, and I was in on it. I felt like it was like in the Lord of the Rings where they have to like avoid like whenever like he puts the ring on. I'm sorry, I have so many notifications from Instagram right now because Skylar and Imogen are deciding they want to have like literally the most in-depth conversation, and I like keep getting all of these notifications in front of my screen. But I will talk to them later. So every time that there's riders that are coming towards them or near them, they have to like kind of pull off and hide from them. And they're basically just trying not to get caught, and they're trying to get to the dragon. So they're riding to get to the mountains, and basically they're being caught at this point. There's this big cloud of smoke, and she's seeing people's faces in it. She knows that they can't go anymore. The buffalo or the oxen, I can't remember which one it was, she can't put the fast spell on them because she doesn't know if they'll last because they're made of dirt. And also she can't risk like them going off of an edge of a cliff and her not being able to control it. She feels really lost. So they basically are being caught up, and the oxen are falling apart, and she's got to take the kids out, and they're trying to run with the kids now. They're on the side of this mountain. It's really intense. Again, really well written. I was like very invested in this scene. And basically they're being attacked by Marek. They're being attacked by the soldiers. Kasia's basically putting herself in between them to save herself, and then the only thing that she can figure out to do is Agnieszka does another illusion spell to try and create a connection between her and Dragon. And Dragon again is like, what are you doing? What even is this? How are you doing this? And she's like, I need your help, please help me. And he's able to grab the children through into the illusion spell and bring them to where he is. And then she looks at Kasha, and Kasha's like, save yourself, go, leave me. She's battling with Marek and his horse and everything. And then he like basically throws her off the cliff. And she basically has to watch herself fall down this, watch Kasha fall down this cliff. And she's like, no. And then the dragon's like, forget it. And then pulls her through. And then somehow, I wasn't really clear on how this worked too. He was able to pull Kasha through. And she's somehow okay. I don't really know. That was a little confusing to me. But basically, the chapter ends and our section for this week ends there. The only little bit of information afterwards that you see is that Dragon is surrounded by other people at this like map or this table, or he's somewhere different, and the soldiers are coming for them, and they're all corrupted, and basically he's like, well, you did bring a lot of people with you, didn't you? So they're saved for now, and she pulled herself to where he was. Basically, they didn't try time travel. They were able to like transport themselves through an illusion spell, which was so cool. Wow, I did it, you guys. I recapped our whole section. There was a lot. There's a lot of different characters. There's a lot of different things that happened, little bits of information. At this point, for the people who are still with me and still hung on, what do you think about, if you haven't read the ending, please, if you've read the ending, don't spoil it for us. I will be really upset. But what are your thoughts now? How do you think they're going to be able to defeat the Wood? How do you think that they're going to be able to do this? I feel that the author at this point has done a really good job of making us believe that there's no hope. Making us believe that they don't have any other options, that the Wood is too out of control, that there's too many people trying to battle against them. Now they're like fugitives. I really feel as though we're stuck in this place of like, oh, that's it. They lost and the Wood is taking over, which is the best for like a good redemption arc character to come through, or like a really good like, oh, this thing, I hope it's done well. It sounds like it's done well for the people that have read the ending of the book. Right now it feels like everyone is going to be consumed by the Wood. Yeah, it feels like there's no hope, Rachel. Like nothing, it just feels like there's no hope that it's done, that it's over. And what are they gonna do? What even could they do? Like, are they gonna start small? Are they gonna try and do some big ass spell and take over the whole Wood and the whole kingdoms, like the Sleeping Beauty of God fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather do when they're putting the whole kingdoms to sleep? Is that what's gonna happen? Do they need to put some sort of blanket sleeping spell? I don't know. But I'm really, really excited to see how this moves forward. At this point, I feel like recapping everything is pretty exhausting, and I don't know how, if I'm going to be able to break it down into 2 more weeks. I really, really would like to be able to have another book and finish it before the end of the year. And I feel like we're going to want to take our time with the next book, because there's the holidays and I don't want to stress people out, and I want people to feel like they're involved without having to put more on their plate. Thanksgiving pun. Rachel says, kill it with fire. Yeah, all of that fire heart or the fire potions, like at this point, who cares if they're wasting all that potion? Let's just burn it to the ground. Yeah. I'm really curious to see how this happens. From the beginning to this point, I can't help but in my gut feel like there's nothing wrong with the Woods are natural and should thrive. Something has to be causing it. So here's, in my mind, something that played with me. So when they were saying things like, when she would bring up Baba Yaga and was like, oh, I'm using these spells. How come nobody does these spells or no one believes in these spells? Basically, hold on, let me see if I can. Okay. Yeah, I turned off the notifications from Instagram. My friends are. No, it didn't work. Hold on. Allow notifications from this category. No, wait. It didn't work. Sorry guys, we're almost done here. But basically, I was thinking maybe Baba Yaga has something to do with it. Maybe in my mind, I was like, maybe the corruption of the wood sprung from someone who was corrupted and who is stuck in the wood. Like, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if it was like something along the lines of someone did something really bad and their evil leached out and kind of started taking over the wood, and so it's somebody instead of something, it's somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be really cool if at the end of it they took out the wood and like saved everybody and everything, but it's left, all they have to do is like face this person that started the evil in the wood or something. That would be kind of cool, but I don't know who it would be. But it was just, there's a little bit of like foreshadowing, or a little bit, not even foreshadowing, but a little bit of like bits where like, how come she's the only one that's doing these Yaga spells and not the only one that it's working for? And when it's brought up in the book, people are like, oh, yeah, that's nonsense. Nobody does that. And then they kind of just brush off of it. Basically, wood shouldn't be evil. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think Raven, a song, I think, like, wouldn't it be cool if it wasn't the wood itself, but it was like someone in the wood making the wood evil? Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be cool. Anyways, guys, I think for next week, I'm gonna assign the rest of the book for the reading. And hopefully we can all get that done. I'm a little worried myself. It's about 100 pages, because if you actually have the book in hand and you're looking at it, so here's what it looks like for the rest of the book. It's quite a bit of pages, but all of these pages back here are acknowledgments or blips from another one of Naomi Novik's books. So this would be our reading section for next time, and it goes from page 339 to 435. So it's about 100 pages. That's a lot, but I feel like we've been doing okay with that. And there's so many of you who have already finished the book. And it's kind of, as far as conversations go for fiction, difficult, especially with such a fast-paced book. I think if this book was a little bit more character development and a little bit more drawn out, I could get through recapping the sections better and kind of pose more questions. But like you said, like you can see, it took me definitely over an hour to properly explain or recap everything that happened in the section that we read. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the homework from last week with making a playlist. You can still do that if you have time, or you can still keep adding songs to that playlist. Feel free to share them in the Facebook group. Our next week's homework is really fun as well. I'm keeping it super light and super easy. I always, when I'm reading books, like to kind of think about who I would cast them as in a movie. It's one of my favorite things to do. And when we read the Throne of Glass series, when George read it and then our two roommates read it, we had like an hour-long conversation one night where we were like, all right, let's cast the movies. Who's going to be this main character? Who's going to be this main character? And we went through different possibilities until we found like our ideal actors and actresses to play these parts if it were to become a TV show or a movie. And it's really, really fun. So that... I have heard that there might be some sort of Netflix something or other that kind of goes along the side of the book. So that's fine. But if you had your homework, if you do choose to accept, is to create your cast of actors and actresses that you would want to play the characters of Uprooted in a movie or a show. So that is, I'm really excited because I've kind of already started doing this in my head. You could do all of the characters you remember. You could just do the main characters. You could just come up with one or two of them if you wanted. You can write them down. Or what might be really fun for those of you who are part of the Facebook group is to kind of take pictures of those people from like the internet, like Google them or something, and comprise like save the photos and then post in Facebook like, here's who I think would play Agnieszka, here's who I think would play Kasha. Or you could just write the actors' names down with the characters, and it'd be really, really cool to see how many people would be like, yes, that character would be perfect for playing this role. Or no, I think it would be cooler if we saw this person. I just think it's a fun activity for us to do that's really easy. And that I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. So that's your homework for next week, if you choose to accept, is to come up with actors and actresses, your basically ideal dream cast for if this would become a movie or a TV show. Who would you cast in the Uprooted cast? So that, I think, is going to be it for today. We're going to finish the book for next week. I've decided now. Next week's going to be our last week, and I'm going to propose again the book The Happiness Project for our last book of 2018. And I'm going to post it as like kind of a poll, like, what do you think, yes or no? And some additional information and resources about the Happiness Project in the Facebook group. So if you're not a part of it, again, please join if you'd like to have, say so or get more information about the homework and stuff like that. It's facebook.com/groups/witchybookclub. I've really, really enjoyed this book. It was hard for me to get it done the last 2 weeks, but I'm super excited to find out what the hell is the wood and how do they defeat it and what's going on. Is there a list of all the books the group has done? Rachel, there's not. I guess I could probably add that to something, maybe in the About section of the Facebook group. That would be kind of cool. What I have done is that there is a playlist on my channel of every single live stream. So if you wanted to go back and like do a different book, like let's say you didn't really like the book that we chose now, and instead you missed a previous book, you could just go back and kind of go through and read and do those discussions and watch the playbacks of those. I tried to add every single Witchy Book Club to that playlist, but I think I've noticed that some of them didn't make it, so I'll probably do another sweep of my channel. But yeah, so I could do a list as well of the books that we've gone through. I could probably name them too. We've done The Green Witch. We've done, what was the second book that we did? Well, I know that we did The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. That was quite a big thing. We went over a lot of astrology basics. We've done Earth Magic. We've done Protection Magic. We've done Kitchen Table Tarot. We've done Uprooted. We're almost done with Uprooted. I feel like I'm missing one. Am I missing one or no? I think that might be it so far. We just started this, we started this less than a year ago, and it's really grown and become something really amazing. I'm so happy and grateful for you all that participate and that are kind of making this what it is. It's really fulfilling for me. But I think that's all I have to say today. Is anything else I need to do? Oh, if you'd like a reading from me, it is available on my website. A couple people have purchased readings. Like I said, I was able to get one done. I need to upload it, and I have a few more hopefully I can film today. But I do have a new Mercury retrograde spread that's available until I think the 10th of December, because we're going to be experiencing Mercury going retrograde for the last time in 2018 next Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which day it is, but it's the 16th, I believe, is when it actually stations into retrograde. So I do offer a reading, and the first 3 people to purchase the reading get $10 off the reading, which I think is kind of a good deal. I know one person has already done it, so I think I'll have to check again. Somebody else might have purchased it, but I think there's 2 more slots available for $10 off the reading. And then after those 3 have been purchased, it goes back up to the normal price. So feel free if you want to get some guidance and insight to Mercury retrograde and to end the year off, or if you want to purchase any of my other readings, I would love to dive into the cards. Oh, the Witch's Shield. Yeah, that one's the protection magic. Wait, no. The Witch's Shield. Oh my gosh, I'm like blanking now. Yeah, The Witch's Shield, Protection Magic by Christopher Penczak. Right? Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm brain farting. Anyways, if you guys want a reading from me, go to my website. I love you all very much, and I will see you in the Facebook group and on Instagram and here, and I love you, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a beautiful, wonderful, and magical day. Bye!